Hi, I'm Ken Vaughn.
I'm David Williams, and at Blaze Performance Solutions, we believe complexity is at the center of the world's most significant challenges.
Yes, complexity causes Americans to work among the longest hours of any advanced economy. We're time starved, busy, and disengaged at work. At BPS, we specialize in simplification. Simplification is the competitive advantage that allows you to be more innovative, more adaptable, and to thrive. We want to welcome you to today's session, Win Back Your Day, Part 2. And this actually involves two pieces, weekly strategy and daily execution. And with that, David, why don't you walk us through weekly strategy of where to play?
So we got this great concept, right? The weekly strategy, where to play. And what I would like for you to keep in mind, there are four critical areas that you need to be playing in on a weekly basis, right? So once again, we've taken the complex and we made it simple. The first area that you should focus on when doing your weekly strategy is I need to review my personal mission statement, need to look at my goals, personal goals, professional goals, look at relationships, professional relationships, personal relationship, need to be looking at this, right? So just take time to review those things that are critical to you. So as in the earlier video, we talked about quadrant two. This box one lies in quadrant two. It's all about all these things that you have to enact on, you have to do, you have to, to engage, if you will. The second area that is critical to help you to review, schedule, and delegate is to review the calendar and the to-do list. So I reviewed my personal mission statement, reviewed my goals, reviewed my relationships. Now I'm looking at my calendar and looking at the to-do list, because we all know that if we don't pick up the dry cleaning, we miss that, or we forget about a kid's practice at a sporting event or at a theater, at a play, craziness can ensue. So always make sure that you're reviewing your calendar and you understand what your to-do list is. The third thing is identify and schedule those quadrant two activities. So in box one you reviewed. Now in quadrant two, or box number three, you're identifying and you're scheduling those Q2 activities. What are the things that I need to do to make sure what I have identified as being important but not urgent to me? Make sure that I identify and schedule those things. And then lastly, the number four box, identify and delegate those Q3 activities. Do not get bogged down in doing work that you could give to somebody else to do. Now, earlier we talked about the importance of making sure you're giving the activity, you're delegating to the individual that has the greatest opportunity for growth. Delegation is not go for delegation. We don't want to see that take place. We don't encourage that. It's all about delegating to that person that's the greatest opportunity for growth on your team. So identify what you can give to somebody else and then delegate that activity to somebody that is the greatest opportunity for growth. Kit, what would you add to what I talked about in these boxes 1, 2, 3, and 4?
Well, I love what you just talked about, go for delegation. And to make sure our audience understands, when we say go for, we're talking about go for this, go for that, go for this, and you're just sending them everywhere, and you're not really doing anything to develop them. And we so often as leaders lean on the person we know will get it done, that will do a great job, and that's wonderful. But what are you doing to develop the rest of your bench strength? What if that person gets hit by a bus? What if they take another job, right? So what are we doing to bring all of our team up? How do we help everyone be A players? And here's what we know with certainty. People rise the level of expectation. They do, absolutely do. Now, there are some exceptions, and don't take a minute to point those out. But what we do know is if you take the time to delegate well, help them understand what it is you want them to do, why it's important, and help them identify their part of it, wow, it's amazing what can really happen to that. That's the value of taking your week and saying, I'm going to have a strategy about where am I going to play and who am I going to get to, and what are we going to do, right? How to do that. So I love that. So that's weekly strategy, your own little weekly strategy session, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday morning, whenever you need to do it, but a little time each week, and that's assuming somebody works Monday through Friday, but whenever your work week is, ending or beginning the work week with this, is so valuable. We're not saying take 2 hours. We're not saying take an hour, just a few minutes and kind of reset, get connected to your North Star again. What are the things that are most important that you need to get done professionally, personally, avocationally? Now, then we got to work on weekly or win back your day daily. We've been doing weekly. Now it's daily execution. Sorry, just a second. My phone wrong there for a second. Win back your day, daily execution. So how are you going to do that? Well, it's really 3 parts. We call them the 3 Ps of pause, prioritize, and pursue. Pursue, absolutely pursue. So pause is kind of what you'd expect. Take a few moments at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, each day, and review the last 24 hours and those weekly Q2 activities that you said you were going to get done this week. Just review, hey, how did I do in the last 24 hours? What I need to pick, pieces do I need to pick up and move forward with, right? Pause, take just a moment to do that. 2, prioritize is write down all the tasks that need to be completed and place in order of performance. Now you see we have this person writing down a piece of paper. Right now it could be typing it into your phone, putting it on the computer. We're not saying you have to use paper, but when we say write, everyone gets the idea. We don't really care where it is. You can tell Siri, remind you at different times of the day to do things. That's great. But make a list, prioritize those things, put them in order of importance. And finally, pursue is work the plan. Work the plan. Here's one of these Dave and I have seen over and over again as leaders, senior leaders in an organization, as owners of companies, and also as we've worked for other people. If you have that weekly strategy and that daily execution plan right there, when the CEO comes to you and says, hey, I need you to drop everything and do this thing, you say, totally happy to do that. You're the CEO, I'll do that. Let me just ask you this though. I'm working on these 3 other things that you said were a really big deal in the board meeting the other day. How does that new thing fit in with these 3 things? So now this becomes kind of a shield. Now they might get a little ticked off with you and say, hey, listen, I'm going to do them all. I just want to know what your priority is. And that's so important when working with your boss or a customer, someone who comes up with something. It's a customer. Maybe you drop everything and handle the customer, right? Or maybe you say, hey, I'm trying to finish this thing up right now. It's an emergency. Can I finish this up and give you a call back in 30 minutes or 40 minutes? What happens is this daily execution becomes kind of a shield to protect you from things that come up and or a lens through which you look at everything else that comes up. Now, the CEO may say to you, yeah, this is the most important thing. The world has changed. Do this and then work on those 2 things. Great, boss. I'm on it now. When do you want it? Great. Or they might say, like I've said more than once, oh, David, I totally forgot that I'd ask you to do that, man. Okay, never mind. Let's get Shelby on that. Let's get Jim on that. Forget it. You keep doing those things, man. So glad you remembered. I totally spaced that, right? Well, like that's never happened. So this can be a great shield, a great tool to help you kind of protect you from things, but also a lens by which you look at everything else. What would you add to these things, David?
I think what we've done with what has been typically, it's been difficult for people to wrap their heads around when we talk about, time management. And there's all these systems and there's all these processes out there on how to do effective time management. I love what we've done with this concept of time management. So what's the weekly strategy? In other words, where are you going to choose to play this week? And then what's the daily execution? How are you going to win on where you've chose to play? And so just using these simple terms and concepts really boils this thing down to where it makes it easy for people to understand, okay, my weekly strategy, where am I going to play, my daily execution, how I'm going to win.
Well said. I love that. So in review, when we talk about win back your day, it of course begins with the Eisenhower time matrix and those 4 quadrants we talked about in part 1. And in part 2, it boils down to, again, a weekly strategy and daily execution. And if you think about it, sometimes we feel like we want to pull our hair out like this poor guy. Man, this is crazy. Things are going crazy. But winning back your day is really about your choice. It's your choice. Are you going to spend a few moments each day to develop a plan to execute effectively that strategy you created for the week, which is connected to the things that you want to win on over time? So how do you apply this? Here's what we'd recommend. First, right now, when will you plan next week? When will you plan? You can plan on Friday night, Friday afternoon, Sunday evening, Schedule it now. Take a moment, schedule it now. Let me tell you the other one so you know that one. When will you plan each day and schedule it now? So why don't you stop the video and right now put in your calendar on your phone, on your computer, if you still use the paper planner, in the paper planner, schedule right now the time to plan the week. Make it a recurring appointment. It's going to happen every Sunday night at 9 o'clock, every Monday morning at 7 a.m. You know, the daily plan, make it a recurring appointment every day. It happens at 5 p.m. or 7 a.m., whenever you want it to, right? Maybe it only recurs Monday through Friday, but how easy is that? So it just pops up, and there it is, the reminder on your calendar. So you remember to do this every single day, because ultimately, who are you investing in? You're investing in yourself, in your own success. And as we said, we are a time-starved, busy, and disengaged workforce. And the more we do these things, the less time-starved we will be, the more we will calm some of the busyness down, and the more engaged we become, because we know we're working on the things that are most important to us. So again, share this with somebody else. Let someone else learn this from you. You become the teacher. And share this with them. You know, you're a coworker, your boss, a friend, spouse, significant other, whomever it is, share with them. Again, remind you, you got to lead yourself to win back your day. Thanks so much for being with us. Anything you want to add, David?
No, I mean, just as you were talking, the thought that came to mind was, you know, a farmer never plants on a Monday and expects to reap a harvest on Tuesday. And that's what we're talking about with the weekly strategy and the daily execution. Make sure that those things that are important to you that you quote, I'm going to use the word plant, that you plant, make sure you're taking care of those plants. So when it comes time to harvest, you're able to have a harvest. So you said something that triggered that thought in my mind. Don't plan on planting today to reap a harvest tomorrow, right? So understand the importance of the weekly strategy and the daily execution.
Fantastic. Hey, thanks so much. We look forward to seeing you again in another episode of the Blaze Leadership Academy. Have a great day.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.